Now I know that this is a summertime card, but it's the card I drew at random today to open our talk today. And this is, I believe, one of the Saint John holidays, which we've just passed through the first St. John's. No, it's a Masonic thing. They're circle and the two things, summer St. John and winter St. John. Yeah, anyway, I was pleased to see it because it provides at least a whimsical ray of hope in an otherwise pretty damn gloomy uh, situation. This year has been, at least it has been for many of us. Okay, and I, for one, am not sad to see the 2022 put behind us. But anyway, this is love. And if lightning would strike me right now, and that's all I get to say for today's talk, I leave you with this whimsical, pleasant expression of love. My love for you, my love for existence. And I know Buddha would say it's sorrow. Well, sure. But you know, even if we would back our camera, our mystical camera up, if we could pull it back to get the widest shot possible of the universe and existence and everything that is, and the final supreme picture that we get would be a hideous, soul-devouring monster god, a Lovecraftian hideousness that is the ultimate everything. We're still faced with the possibility of having to consider it a good thing or a bad thing. And you know, it doesn't make any difference. It's got to be a good thing. And if you don't think it's a good thing, you just don't understand stand it enough. We may as well surrender to the fact that all of this is for the best. And if it doesn't seem like it's for the best, we're not seeing it clearly enough. The saying that all things will turn out wonderful in the end. And if things are not wonderful, if they don't seem wonderful, then it's not the end. Anyway, here we are at the threshold of a new year. And speaking of whimsical numbers, 23 is Bob Wilson Discordian whimsical number par excellence. Crowley's chapter 23 in the Book of Lies is called Skidoo, 23 Skidoo. But anyway, Constance and I are rather kind of down this New Year's Eve. Number one, the weather is just terrible, just continual rain. If you've seen my Facebook post, our backyard is flooded, and the rain's continuing, and the water is rising out there. It's been a difficult year for us up here in Sacramento, and it's cold and it's gloomy. And to tell you the truth, the bright spot of most of my days for the last couple of years has been being here with you. Uh, Another thing that we really regret at this time of year is for many years, literally for decades, Constance and I opened our house every New Year's Eve for an open house. We didn't call it a party, but and this was in Southern California, and since we'd moved to Sacramento, and with the pandemic and all, we of course have had to discontinue that, at least for the time being. But it was the high spot of our year. It was wonderful. I'm going to read you a little something I wrote about it here for today's talk. But we miss it so terribly. And one year, the second to the last year, I think that we did it, we had like 75 people in our tiny duplex living room, and I'd be upstairs, and we had a little loft area that was like a spare bedroom in my library, and I'd sit up there and read people's tarot cards, giving them sort of mini tarot readings, and I'd be up there all night, and then I'd play my guitar, and it was just wonderful. And friends that we hadn't seen for the rest of the year would drop by. So we're not doing that. Indeed, we're not having anybody over. Sacramento's gone into the red, and even lodge events have been canceled. So, but I'm here to cheer you up. I'm not here to bum you out. So here's something that I use for the epilogue for my book, Homemade Magic, which should be out next year again in a new edition. It's been out of print for a while. And it's an epilogue, and it's called At Our Threshold. And it comes at the end of the book, so that'll explain why this opening line here. Someone said that an author never really finishes a book, but merely knows when to abandon it. I hope these reminiscences of homemade magic have given you a little food for thought about your own home life as a magician. In reviewing what I've shared with you so far, I see that I've barely scratched the surface of the magical lives of the DuQuettes. But I've reached a point in writing this book where, even though I feel there is so much for I can say, so much more to share, that I must bring this episode of my work to an end. And if you would just hang on just a moment, let me make sure my microphone is loud enough here. Hang on, hang on. Hey, hang on. Aha. Hang on, hang on. Sorry about that. I hope you heard a little bit of that. I'm glad I caught that before I went on. So I didn't mean to blow your earplugs out. Okay. I call this At the Gate of the New Year. It's a New Year's ritual of welcome. And actually, this was, I had originally wrote it for my friend Brenda Knight's book on rituals. But anyway, I've got all of that posted on Facebook this morning. Each year, instead of hosting a large, energy-draining New Year's Eve party that competes with a half dozen other large, energy-draining New Year's Eve parties thrown by our friends in neighboring Southern California communities, the DuQuettes host a different kind of event. We open our house to our party-going friends who are traveling to or from bigger and wilder celebrations, and give them a chance to pause and refresh themselves or sober up before going on to the great celebrations or returning home to their cozy beds. Our home is conveniently located midway on the party caravan between Los Angeles and South Orange County and San Diego, and a surprising number of vagabond revelers take advantage of our little way station. Besides tea and snacks, oh God, Constance cooks for hours, days. We shop for this. She makes fantastic hors d'oeuvres and wonderful little miniature like blini-sized pizzas and lentil soup, and it's just, oh, excuse me while I drool into my beard. Okay. Besides tea and snacks, we offer them the opportunity during their short visit usually lasts 6 hours, short visit to divine their fortunes for the coming year. If requested, I'll read their tarot cards or help them with a I Ching or geomantic reading. This quiet oasis in an otherwise loud and raucous day and night provide for many of our comrades a rare chance to truly reflect on their lives in the year that was passing and the possibilities for the year to come. To look both forward and backward like the two-faced Roman god Janus, god of gates and doors, beginnings and endings, and the month of January. Our wayfarer's magical experience begins at the threshold of our front door. It's a simple ritual that was inspired by my wife Constance's visit to the great temples of Japan. Before entering the temple, the pilgrim pauses at an outdoor shrine and ceremonially washes his or her hands with pure water that is poured from a bamboo ladle. Then, with clean hands, they take a stick of incense and light it from a perpetual flame and place the burning incense in a container of sand. Sometimes they clap their hands as if to call the gods' attention to this offering, or ring a big bell sometimes, or else pause for meditation and prayer. Finally, they leave a few coins in another nearby vessel and continue their pilgrimage. While our shrine is not as ornate as those of the Japanese temples, Constance nevertheless creates a beautiful version of this array of ritual objects on the stone bench that graces our tiny outer portico. She places 3 large china bowls, one filled with pure water, one with sand, and one with coins, or one for coins. In the back of the bowl of sand, she places a lit votive candle. In front of everything, she stacks large amounts of Japanese stick incense. And how do our guests know how to behave? Well, many of them know either from experience or from spiritual instinct what to do. But just in case, Constance posts a beautifully handwritten and decorated sign that simply reads, "At the gate of the new year, purify your hands with water so that you may receive peace. Light a stick of incense so that you may receive freedom. Offer a coin so that you may receive stability." Can you think of better gifts for New Year's? And that's what I'm going to leave you with today. Tomorrow, hopefully, will be the first Sunday school of 2023 and New Year's Day. So everyone, be careful tonight. If you're going to party in a mask. Pretend you're in old Venice. Until tomorrow, goodbye, 2022. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.